Okay, so today I'm going to do something that I don't usually do on this channel, specifically talking about something relevant, and that being a one fantastic scene analysis of a 2015 Ridley Scott sci-fi movie starring Matt Damon, otherwise known as The Martian. I kid, but I do realize that I'm not the only one who's being bombarded 24/7 by The Martian on YouTube Shorts, right? And come on, it's almost certainly because of the overwhelming hype that is being created, and of course the marketing project done to promote Project Hail Mary. Does it sound like I'm annoyed? No man, I'm all in on this marketing project, and trust me, I want to talk about it. After I talked about the one fantastic scene from The Martian, so hold your butts. And by the way, on my side of the world, Project Hail Mary comes out April 8th. A travesty. Also, when I was looking into this, I found out that Drew Goddard worked on the script of The Martian and the upcoming Project Hail Mary. And after a little bit more digging, I found out that he worked on a lot of things that I really like actually. Cabin in the Woods, Cloverfield. He was also working as a staff writer for The Lost and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But more importantly, of course, he was the showrunner of Daredevil, the original one. Really? See? I always talk about something semi-relevant sometimes. Back to The Martian, it is such an endlessly rewatchable science fiction movie. Filled with a completely fantastic stacked cast, by the way, with also a great hook, obviously, with the man being stranded on the planet Mars, and just a general and incredible message about human resilience and the potential of humankind when we are able to work together to fulfill a goal. Like I said, a great science fiction movie. I sometimes find myself criticizing the movie because Mark Watney doesn't quite function well as a fully fleshed out protagonist. Actually, no, he's just a fully fleshed out protagonist and he doesn't have much room to grow. His sheer determination, constant optimism, flavorful personality, and never say die attitude just makes him a complete character from the get-go. Complaint of mine that has been handled brilliantly in Project Hail Mary with Ryland Grace. Can't wait, yet again. But the more I think about it when I was writing this video, at the same time I found that The Martian wouldn't function if Mark Watney wasn't Mark Watney. I came to the realization that the whole point of the story is not for us to see Mark wavering in the pursuit of survival. It was about the resiliency of humankind, that even when someone is confronted by a Herculean problem, that being stranded in an entirely different planet, well, as Mark Watney brilliantly puts it,
at some point, everything's gonna go south on you. This is how I end. Now you can either accept that or you can get to work. You do the math, you solve one problem, then you solve the next one, and then the next. And if you solve enough problems, you get to come home.
Because of that, I think the story is less about the examination of how the human psyche would function in this absolutely terrifying position, but instead it became an incredibly hopeful and optimistic view of the best parts of humanity. And this is where the one fantastic scene idea came into my mind. Because as resilient as Mark Watney was, there were moments where he would simply, funnily enough, become human, where even the very best of humanity in Mark Watney would not be human at all if he was just completely infallible. Come to these vulnerable moments, for example, when he is first confronted with this new situation, with a loose antenna jutting out of his stomach as the cold, dark dread of his new reality settles over him. It was also when it felt like that all was lost. The black moment of the story where his means of surviving literally exploded in his face. It was also critically so when he knew that he could see the finish line of this terribly exhausting race. As his body has taken a beating as he did every measure to survive. As he heard the worst voice he's heard other than his own for the past year and a half, as the encroaching feeling of success slowly overwhelmed him, as he knows that there were only a few more problems he needed to solve before he can get to go home. And at that point, there was nothing left for him to do. It was all completely out of his hands, and the least thing he could do was just break down in tears. It was such an incredibly humane scene that Mark Watney,
Space pirate,
knew that there was nothing left he could do, that the thousands of problems he had finished before him had led him to this one moment that is completely out of his hands. With the help of his crew, he can survive. And try it as he might, as he tried to act brave and not to break tension of the crew trying to focus and help him. And for us, the audience too, obviously, because at this point we were on the edge of our seats. He held it in, crying in the unimaginable mix of climactic hopefulness and dreadful despair as he left his fate to his crew. And that scene is exactly why Mark Watney's story works so well. To see the incredible high outweigh the downtrodden lows. But these exact small moments of vulnerability, helped with the incredible performance by Matt Damon, of course, only helped on making the highs become more climactic than it could ever be. And in turn, helped magnify again the idea of human resilience. So yeah, that is one fantastic scene of The Martian. Now, let's go back to the Project Hail Mary. Book review, by the way. I haven't watched the movie, obviously. I just finished the book 2 weeks ago, just in preparation for this movie, obviously. And yeah, I believe this could be the movie of the decade. Exaggerating, I know. But the combination of Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the ones who worked on the masterpiece, and the very well received Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball, obviously, and Ryan Gosling? Come on, it's GG. Because honestly, it has now been 8 years since we got an actual leading role from Ryan Gosling. And I'm not complaining. I bet in this 8-year time span, he spent so much time with his kids and Eva Mendes, who wouldn't really come on, and rested on his laurels for the time being. I mean, look at this run he went on. But now, he's back. And Dr. Ryland Grace is such a great character for him to go back into. I would just like to really show appreciation to how easy it is to read this book. And with that, I mean the scientific elements of the book, where Andy Weir's efforts of dumbing down all the scientific theories and just terminology so any and all people can read it. And not to mention the gripping pace this book has, where it excellently intertwines the flashbacks with the current happenings of the ship that is related to that flashback, and it just did it so exceptionally well. As the book goes on, it continues to unlock Grace's past that continuously relates with the current happenings of the ship. It was so well done. And the liberties he done with the sci-fi elements of the story, where Weir especially created the astrophage. It was, without a doubt, the best part of the book. Imagining an alien life form be the antagonist of the book, and having these alien life forms be this microbacterial life that is slowly killing off our sun, and Grace's experiments and continuous research to peel away the mysteries of astrophage be peeled away slowly is such a good hook and a page turner. Fantastically done. But there are some things I would like to criticize about the book. Mainly the way Grace's inner monologue is written in such an overly enthused scientist way, which in turn made him a little tad bit overbearing sometimes. But at the very same time, I'd much rather have Grace have a little bit of wit and edge to him, which adds a little bit more flavor to his monologue. So I'm warning to you all, do not expect some Asimov levels of explanations and expositions, or to the levels of Philip K. Dick's existentialism, but I would 100% understand if somebody got annoyed by Ryland Grace's voice, especially his inner monologue, when you're reading the book, probably because you're just marveled out. And also because of these constant quips, a lot of the dark reality, constant existentialism, and daunting eventuality of his fate that he has to confront, I felt it was continuously toned down because of it. So at least I hope the movie will flesh out that part of the story more, especially Grace's inner monologue, especially regarding Grace's loneliness both in space and his flashbacks. I just want to see him suffer, okay? It's Ryan Gosling. And Gosling has more than enough in his locker to absolutely nail this portrayal of Ryland Grace. So I hope they do that. I mean, just look at this shot in the trailer. He looks absolutely done with everything here. Add that to the collection of reaction gifts. But all in all, a fantastic sci-fi book that I could literally recommend to anyone who wants to read it, because of its gripping pace, borderline choking hook, and fantastical sci-fi world building. And even though I criticize it, a completely flawed and easily relatable main character. Anyways, thanks for watching, and please recommend any other scenes that you would like me to dissect. And yeah, oh yeah, by the way, I have a couple of One Fantastic Scene, so if you're new here, click this playlist at the end of the video to see, to see the ones you've seen, obviously. So yeah, that's about it. So thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, like and subscribe.